And welcome to Bonus Issues, the digital extra for The Issue Is. We're back with our panel, Jane Wells from CNBC, Gianno Caldwell from the Fox News Channel, and Jessica Levinson from Loyola Law School. All right, we're going to got a big issue for each of you. Jessica, let's start with you. The Supreme Court is your wheelhouse this week. Some big decisions when it comes to voting rights in this country. Just describe what they are and what you think.
Yes, so on Monday, the court said Ohio's incredibly aggressive practice of purging voters from the voting rolls is okay. So what Ohio does is, if you sit out one election, they'll send you a notice. If you sit out 2 more elections and or you don't return the notice, you're off the voter rolls. This disproportionately hurts Democratic voters, minorities, disabled people, poor people. On Monday, the Supreme Court said that's okay. Cut to Thursday, the Supreme Court makes another decision in a case coming out of Minnesota that dealt with whether or not you could wear political apparel in polling places. And the court kind of said no because the law was too broad, frankly. They didn't know what was okay, what wasn't. But what was interesting is the court waxed poetic about how important the polling place is. The court says it's this island of calm. So on Monday, it's going to be really hard to actually get to the polling place. But on Thursday, once you're there, you can achieve nirvana because it is a really important place. All right,
Gianno, my question for you. We find out about James Comey, the Inspector General report. The president says that this shows that the whole investigation is basically a fraud. You agree with that?
Well, I think that it definitely highlighted political bias that was held with Lisa Page and Peter Strzok, in addition to FBI director, former FBI director James Comey. The report said he was insubordinate, especially when it came to the press conference that he had with regards to Hillary Clinton's emails. We see that there's an inequality of justice when it comes to who's being investigated over emails and who's not. The IG report, I believe, also made a referral. I could be incorrect about this, but made a referral that there is a need to further investigate the Hillary Clinton email situation. I think when it comes down to this entire scenario at play, we need to know, as the American people, that there's not going to be, because you're a very big, important anchor, that you're going to get special treatment. And me, as a regular guy, I'm going to be investigated. And I think this is what this IG report really demonstrated to me, that there's a need for that kind of clarity.
All right, and Jane, our question for you about the economy, that's your specialty. We've got really good economic news, but then we also have this $50 billion in tariffs that the U.S. is going to be putting onto China. China now retaliating. Are we about to have a trade war, and could that really hurt all this economic progress?
Okay. We do have a trade war. Prices will probably go up on a few things. At the same time, U.S. Steel is just firing up a defunct plant in the U.S. because demand for domestic steel is now up because of these tariffs. I'm the sort of person that says, you may not like this president, he has broken the mold, but if by 2020 we have GDP growth near 4%, we've got a market like this, we've got record low unemployment, we've got more jobs than job applicants, and even our allies start to say, we don't like you, but let's do something to make trade, we got to have you, and our trade deficit starts to shrink, and maybe we have peace in Korea. How do you not reelect this guy, even if you think he's a buffoon?
What about the racism?
People are going to say, I don't like him, he's a racist, he's a misogynist, poor illegal immigrants, but I'm doing better than I was 4 years ago. America is safer than it was 4 years ago. The economy's doing better. There are more jobs. And I just don't know how that gets defeated, because it's the economy, stupid.
And more importantly, Democrats don't have a candidate that they can put up against them. But to your point, though, he has provided some gravitas to some of these claims in terms of how he's spoken about issues concerning race, and I think that's important to mention.
Oh, I think he's provided so much national and international embarrassment when it comes to race. I mean, I think he's an avowed racist, misogynist, and pathological liar. And I think he's not a buffoon. I think he's someone who looks up to dictators. So I think people will vote based on the economy because that's a rational decision for voters. But I think it's an enormous embarrassment nationally and internationally if that happens.
I think it'll be the year, this could be the first time an independent candidate, if you have Joe Biden as a Democrat and Donald Trump as a Republican, say, in the middle, are you going to get Howard Schultz? Are you going to get Bernie Sanders? Who is it? Michael Bloomberg? All male names,
Kanye
by the
West.
way. Yeah, well, I just think this could be the first time in decades that an independent candidate may be viable. I don't know.
I think Howard Schultz is running for president, from what I hear.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
Trump still takes it, though.
So you guys all got your moment. This is going to be mine.
Yes.
I'm going to talk a little bit about media, and we end this week with a tribute to Tim Russert. He's my favorite broadcaster of all time, and 10 years ago this week, we were all shocked when Russert collapsed at work and died. Tim was, of course, the moderator of Meet the Press and NBC's Washington bureau chief. He did those jobs better than anybody ever, before or since. No one did more research, no one was better prepared, and no one was more organized or more fair. But what made Russert stand out was his integrity, his humor, and his wisdom. I was lucky enough to intern for Tim at NBC News in Washington. I ended up meeting him actually on Father's Day weekend. I gave him his book, Big Russ and Me, which was all about fatherhood, and I asked him to sign his book. He did, and he wrote a special note to my dad and a note about me, which was the favorite gift that I've ever given anyone. And exactly 1 year after that, to the day, is the day that he died, on Father's Day weekend. So as we remember Tim, it's important to think about what he would be doing today and how he would do this sort of job today. He's a huge inspiration for why I got into this business in the first place. I try to make him proud every day. And in his honor, this show is actually named. When I was trying to think of a name for this show, I kept thinking about Tim and the way that he starts the show off every week. He would say, "Our issues this Sunday," at the start of every Meet the Press. And I kept thinking about him, trying to come up with a name, and I thought of The Issue Is as a way to pay tribute to him. So this show, we try to do Tim proud every week, and as we end this week, I won't ever do this again, but I'll do this one time as a tribute to Tim in the way that he used to end his show every week. That's all for this week. Happy Father's Day, and if it's Friday, it's The Issue Is. Have a good night.
Bravo.